let your peace begin right now.
You might as well start now.
Isn't it a wonderful thing?
Today's the only day you got, right? This is it.
It is.
This is it.
Isn't it a wonderful thing that you can take a breath at any moment and get a complete new start on anything?
I think I'll wait till tomorrow to do that.
Well, that's your option. Right? If the wrong word comes out, if the wrong action is taken, if you have, a thought that's not helpful, whatever it is, you can just take a breath and start over.
Yeah. Beginning
I love
again and again and again.
I love
Every time.
redos. I love spiritual redos. So what are we talking about this morning?
Well, how many heard the daily word? It was about wholeness.
Yeah.
And we didn't plan it to go with the daily word,
Nope.
but many times it does,
Yep.
which is synchronistic. And that's how many understand that we live in a synchronistic universe. Everything is connected. Everything works together. And, everything is a reflection back to you of life. And your life, it's personal. We live in a personal universe in one sense. Because the universe is reflecting back to you who you are in any given moment. How many know you can be whoever you want to be? If you don't like who you are right now, change it. Go in a new direction. In the Bible, Jesus called it repentance. Repent! And a lot of people get confused about that word. In the Greek, it's metanoia. It just means to go in a new direction. I've been traveling this road in this direction, but you know what? I don't think I want to do that anymore, so I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go this direction, right? And it's simple. It's a matter of changing your thought pattern. Not just changing your thoughts, but changing your thought pattern. That means you choose it, and then you choose it again. And then you choose it again. And then you keep choosing it until it becomes a good habit, a good pattern where you stay with it. But always remember to stay conscious and aware when you make a new choice. Because sometimes we do a lot of have you ever been driving down the road and all of a sudden, how did I get here? Where am I? Did I pass my exit? You ever do that? All right. And you know why we do that? Because we're not in the moment with ourselves. And thankfully, we have this God-given machine body that knows how to keep us on the road, even when we're not paying attention. So
I also find myself saying, now where was I going? So there's a quiet truth that most of us sense about ourselves, but we really don't put a name to it and oftentimes don't really want to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And that's this idea that you are not only light, but you are also shadow.
Yes.
We have the light side and we have the shadow side.
I like to call it dark chocolate. My dark chocolate side,
And our wholeness comes not from choosing one over the other, but in learning to integrate them both in a healthy way. So there is this wonderful psychologist, Carl Jung, and he taught about the shadow being a part of ourselves that
he was a Jungian teacher, wasn't he?
that we reject or we suppress or we deny that it exists. You got anything going on in your life that you have a tendency to do that with? Yeah. So it holds all of our fears and our insecurities and our anger, but it also holds gifts.
Yes.
And power if we are courageous enough to look at it and learn to integrate it. So think about it this way. You're going through life dragging a suitcase or carrying a sack on your back.
Yeah.
And every time you have something that comes up that you don't want to look at, it's like a rock that you put in that bag or that you put in that piece of luggage. And that thing gets heavier and heavier and heavier to walk around with or to drag around. And we never want to unzip it or unpack it and lighten our load. But there's gifts hiding in there. So we need to unzip it. We need to unpack it so we can see what precious treasures are lying inside of all of the shadow. So it's the idea kind of like, so the Gospel of Thomas, we talked about this a few weeks ago, that says if you bring forth what is in you, what you bring forth will save you. But if you don't bring it forth, then it just remains hidden and unusable. And actually, the Gospel of Thomas goes on to say that that which you don't bring forth will harm you.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we continue to carry that stuff around without bringing it forth, it eventually leads to our sickness, our anxiety, our troubled relationships, whatever it is, right? So the shadow is not your enemy. It's important that we understand that. The shadow is not your enemy. It's just that part of you that's waiting to be understood. And there's kind of a misnomer in New Thought arenas that you shouldn't focus on the dark. You shouldn't mention the shadowy stuff. You shouldn't give your attention to it. No, we want to bring our attention and our awareness to it so that we can deal with it. Are you ready to deal with some things in your life? I don't think they're ready.
Maybe this is the wrong group. Are we in the right place? Oh, wait a minute. We are always at the right place at the right time, right?
Sure you are, whether you really consciously recognize it or not. If there's something that keeps popping up in your pool of awareness that keeps trying to get your attention, it's time for you.
Yeah.
Because it pops up and it comes to your awareness and makes itself obviously known when it's time for you to deal with it.
Well,
and when you're ready.
We have the challenge is that most people, they split themselves off.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a little child, they say, be a good little boy, James. Be a good little boy. Okay. What does it mean to be a good little boy? Well, do what I tell you to do. Right? And so, on the other side of it, I don't want to. Right? I don't want to do that. I want to do this other thing. And so we split ourselves off. We have the nice little smile that we present to the world, And then we've got this other part, this hidden part that we never reveal. And so we tell it we should on ourselves. Mm-hmm. We say, I should always be loving. Right? And we make that a rule. I want to always be loving. I should always be loving. Or I shouldn't feel anger. Or I need to stay positive. I need to stay positive. So what happens? Well, then the anger goes underground. Takes a deep dive. And the fear hides behind the smile. We're fearful at some level. And the ego disguises itself as spirituality.
Ooh, say that one again.
The ego puts on a disguise. I'm Mr. Spiritual. I got it all figured out. I know what I'm talking about. Those little peons out there, they don't know what they're doing. They're going to the wrong church, let me tell you. They don't believe in the things that I believe in, so obviously they're incorrect.
Yeah. And there's actually a name for this. It's called spiritual bypassing. Whenever we see the shadow or we see something that is considered quote unquote dark, we want to just bypass that and not pay any attention to it and instead say, oh, it's all light.
Mm-hmm.
It's all love. I don't see anything. It's just yada, da, 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 da. And in the meantime, it's rearing its ugly head trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
We do not want to get into the practice of spiritual bypassing, trying to apply a spiritual fix to something that needs your attention by not really doing any spiritual work. You're just bypassing the work by saying, "Oh, it's all in divine order. It's all good. It's all blessed." Yes, everything is in divine order, but we don't use that as a way to just bypass dealing with what's going on with us, right? So the mistake is to see these things that rear up in our lives as enemies, right? We see the good spiritual side of ourselves and the bad shadowy side of ourselves. And the goal isn't, as we said just a moment ago, to kill or destroy that part. It's to integrate it. I hear a lot of talk these days about killing the ego. Really? The ego is not to be killed. The ego is to be maintained and turned into the vehicle that you use rather than it using you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Better write that one down.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ego doesn't use me. I use it. It is the servant of the Spirit. It is the servant. You know, it's like your personality is how you express in the world with people. You know? And I love it when people present themselves, you know, in a way that makes sense to me. Right? And even if they don't, I just think to myself, well, that's really cute. That's kind of cute, you know, in its own weird way. It's pretty cute.
Is that what you think about me?
Tell the person next to you, say, you're cute. So, the goal is not to rebuke the shadow, reject the shadow, suppress the shadow, depress the shadow, oppress the shadow, ignore the shadow. It is not even to ascend above the shadow. Here's the key phrase for you today. You ready? It is to integrate the shadow. Because the shadow is holding all of your excess energy that you've been missing. It could be why you're running around exhausted all the time. Because you keep pushing down feelings, pushing down those old memories, those old ways of, you know, when you made that mistake, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done that, and I beat myself up, and I hear myself say it over and over, I shouldn't have done, why did I do that, why did I do that? And I'm just beating myself up all the time. And then I talk to my loved one, and she reflects back to me what I need to see about myself, because it's not about her. Me is always about me, right? Her is always about her. And so it's
and
about...
sometimes that ego, shadowy self goes, that's not right. Right?
Yes.
And I do that too, right?
Yeah.
So we take a breath and we go, well, let me sit with that.
Yeah.
Let me sit with that so that I can see.
Yeah, sometimes we have to take a time out. You ever have to do that? You know, I was talking, Paula, you and I were talking earlier, right? We were talking about taking a breath before you respond or react. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff in there that we ignore. And you know the thing about it, it's stealing your life force. It's stealing your energy. There's so many gifts and talents and abilities we have that haven't even come to the surface because we've been pushing it away, shoving it away because it doesn't look like it's supposed to look. Right? So what we're talking about, this integration, is the sacred marriage of the soul and the mind. the spirit and the soul, bringing them together into that oneness state. Mm-hmm. So that the spirit flows through your ego. And when you say words, your words are healing. The looks you give people are looks of kindness, appreciation, gratitude. Do you ever look at yourself in the mirror? I mean, ever really look at yourself?
Yeah,
not in a judgmental way, but just to look, what's going on with your face? Right? What's up with that face?
That's usually what he says to me.
No, tell him the truth.
I'm talking about rolling my eyes.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. She's very good at the eye rolling.
Yeah. So,
but I give her many reasons to do that.
Well, that's true.
That's my job. I can,
So here's a little secret. You think that the things that you're suppressing they're going unnoticed by everyone. You're hiding them. You're doing a really good job at keeping them secret and unknown. No, you're not. Because everybody else can see it. So it would be really helpful if you could see it. Because Carl Jung also said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You have to bring that unconscious stuff into consciousness, because what you're bearing isn't disappearing. It's coming out in your reactions, in your relationships, in your decisions, and it's coming out in all ways that are not productive, that are not kind, that are not the way that we want them to come out. They come out all sideways.
Yeah.
Because we think we're keeping something buried and secret.
Tell them the story.
Well, there is a story of a man who once came to a wise teacher and said, I want to be peaceful, but I keep getting angry. Yeah, I've had that, yeah. So the teacher handed him a cup of tea filled to the brim and said, walk across the room without spilling a drop of this tea. So the man walked really slowly, carefully, and completely focused on the cup of tea and made it across the room without spilling it. And the teacher said, did you feel anger while you were walking? And he said, no. Well, why not? Well, because I was paying attention to the cup and the tea. And the teacher smiled and said, your anger is not the problem. Your lack of awareness is. I can tell that landed really well. Your lack of awareness, your lack of attention, your lack of the focus on these things that are trying to get your attention.
Yeah.
But the important thing about these things that we see pop up that we're considering our faults, our fears, our angers, whatever, is to not judge them. They're there born out of your experiences, born out of your perceptions, born out of faulty belief systems. And at some point in your life, it may have served you well. Maybe some of these things were brought into your arena when you were young and you needed them to survive difficult situations. But they're not helping you now. So when you learned as a child to isolate and protect and to build walls and to not let anyone in because the world was too scary and people were too unpredictable, that doesn't serve you as an adult when you're trying to be in relationship. Right? We have to be able to look at that and go, okay, that is no longer serving me well. It's time for me to look at that. Oh. So we look at these things without judgment. When we look at the shadowy parts of ourselves, we are doing sacred, holy work. sacred and holy work. You are not of less value. You are not less spiritual. Perhaps even more are you spiritual by looking at those things that need to be looked at. Perhaps, right?
Yeah. So integration begins when we stop labeling parts of ourselves as good and bad.
Yeah.
That's good, that's bad. And say, it's an isness. Say it with me. Isness is my business.
Is my business.
Right? It's what is. So stop labeling it good and bad and just be with whatever is. That's the key to a peaceful, happy life. I'm just going to be with it. I'm just going to be, instead of judging it, oh, this is terrible. This is awful. I can't believe how bad this is. How bad is it? Oh, it's really bad. Right? It's that old joke, you know. It's bad. Well, how bad is it? It can get bad. Anger.
Can I process something just before we move on?
Sure, yeah. This is a safe space to open up.
Well, I just said something that, spirit. I still have some work to do.
What?
Thank you for letting me process that for a minute, because I didn't want to lose that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, see, that's the whole point, is that shadow side is not there to hurt you. It's only there to get your attention. It's giving you a message.
Mm-hmm.
It's a message in a bottle. And it washes up on the shore of your conscious mind. And you open up and you see, what is it that I'm being told? What are you trying to say? Because anger, a possible message of anger is that it could reveal where you have some violated boundaries in your life. People have used and abused and taken advantage of you in some way, shape, or form. And so you get angry. That could be what it is. Why am I so angry? We need to give attention to these feelings inside of ourselves and allow them to come out. Allow yourself to process. How many know that you're just a processing machine? Right?
Yeah.
Violated boundaries. And see, that's what you were just talking about.
Uh-huh.
So she had to build a wall to protect herself. Right? And that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Betrayal. I don't want to be betrayed anymore. So therefore, I got the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But I sure wish I had somebody in my life that I could love that loves me. But I got this big wall. And on the wall it says, keep out. Fear can point to where healing is needed.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? What is it? You know, we think that we're afraid of heights or snakes or spiders. But what do those represent? Right? What is the message? You keep seeing something over and over. It keeps coming back to you. And you're like, well, I don't have time to think about that. I'm too busy doing all the stuff I do, which is juggling all the crazy stuff going on in my life because I don't take a moment just to be with the feeling, to be with the hurt. See, inside yourself, there's this little boy, this little girl, this little person. And she wants your attention. He wants your attention. Why do they want your attention? So you get the message. Are you listening? Are you listening? Can you imagine if a little child, a little 5, 6-year-old child walks into the room and sits down with you and starts asking you for something, and you don't give the child any attention, and you don't pay attention to the child? Wouldn't that be cruel? Wouldn't that be cruel? That's what we do. We're not paying attention. We're not giving attention to what's going on the inside. And once you start paying attention to what's happening in here, that's where the freedom comes. And you can take those deep breaths and those big steps and those bold moves that you want to make in your life. The only reason you haven't done it is because there's some little niggling fear in the background that's saying you can't do this until you pay attention, until you give attention to that hurting part of yourself. We live in a world where everybody's walking around wounded. Let me tell you something. It's important right now, especially, to give a little extra grace to people. Give them a little space. You know, I remember 2 weeks ago, I went to the gas station, filled it up. You know, hey, that's pretty good. Well, I went yesterday. Hey, what happened? You know, shock. And there's a lot going on inside of people. Reactions, and people are reactive. They don't know what to think. They don't know what to do.
Their shadows are coming out.
Yeah. So give them a little space. Let me tell you, you're going to have to go the extra mile right now. Say it with me. I'm going the extra mile. Right? Because everything is coming out on the table so we can look at it, because we've got to deal with it if we ever want to move forward. Yeah. If we ever want to have peace on earth, and it all begins with, I don't know who, somebody help me here, right? It's got to get it all out.
So we understand that it would be really helpful if we deal with these parts of ourselves and integrate them so that we can be healed, have good relationships, etc.
Affects everything.
Yeah. And we know that we hold on to them and choose not to look at them because of fear, or we get distracted by other things, or it's a habit that's ingrained in us that we're not prepared to take the time to change, to shift. So how do we integrate these things? What's a practical way that we can work with these things that finally get our attention? Well, the very first thing you do, step 1, is to notice it without judgment. Just notice it. Instead of saying, well, this is wrong, or I shouldn't be feeling this way. How many of us have said that? I know better. I shouldn't be feeling this way. Well, you do. Don't ignore it. Instead of that, just simply say, this is here. This is here. It is. No judgment. Yeah. Then what do we do?
Well, you have to name it. Honestly. Well, I'm feeling this way because you said that. Right? No, I'm feeling this way because something in me. It's me. Right? You don't even know what I'm talking about. Name it honestly. I feel what? Angry. I feel afraid. I feel anxious. Just let it out. That's how you release it.
And you can only name it honestly if you stay in a space of non-judgment.
Yeah.
Because if there's something lingering in you that says, oh, well, it's wrong to feel angry, it's bad to feel this way or that way, you're not going to be able to name it
Who
honestly.
said that anyway?
Yeah.
I don't know who it was.
Name it honestly. Is it hatred? Is it fear? Is it jealousy? What is it? Name it honestly. And then after you do that, the third step is to get curious. Okay, what's this trying to show me? It doesn't do me any good to see it if I don't know what it's trying to tell me, what it's trying to show me. So I've got to get curious about it. I got to be willing to dig into it a little bit. And what is this trying to show me? If I keep encountering the same person over and over and over, and they have a different look and form and a different name, there's a message there, my friends. What is that trying to tell you that you keep seeing the same things over and over? Get curious.
Yeah. And then bring compassion to it. Say with me, that's new.
Ooh.
That's new for a lot of people because we're not compassionate with ourselves. Not fixing. You don't have to fix anything.
Mm-hmm.
Not suppressing. Just allowing.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it be.
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing right now? Well, I'm just feeling my anger. Just allowing it to be for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay for me to process it. It's okay for me to let it out, right? You got to make it okay.
Yeah.
Let's say it together. Let's make it okay. Let's make it okay to feel.
Yes.
Because if you can't feel your anger, you're not going to feel your joy. You get that?
Yeah.
If you can't feel fear, then it's going to be hard to feel love and appreciation. How many of us, somebody compliments us, says, oh, darling, you're so beautiful. I appreciate you. Just your hair. And all those, look at those hair. Aren't they amazing? They just kind of jangle there, you know? Interesting, right? So you're giving all this praise, and she's just going, yeah, whatever. What do you want? Of course, that never happens with us. So,
what do you want? It's important to remember that you are not your emotions.
yeah, you're not the feeling.
You are not that. You can feel that. You can have that energy move through you. And you heard that. Move through you, not come into you and get lodged and stay and hang out. Move through you. It's just energy. You are not that emotion. So you can bring compassion by recognizing that. Oh, I can just allow this to be the energy that it is and just be with it. See what it's got to say to me. And then the fifth and final step is to choose consciously. And this is really where the rubber hits the road, right? This is really where the work is. To choose consciously. You are not your reaction. You are the awareness behind it. In every thought, in every exchange, there is a moment. There is a space. Just like the space that exists between the notes of a melody. There is a space. And you can learn to consciously choose a response from that space. I know from which I speak. Because as I've shared on many occasions, I used to have an extreme problem with anger. No doubt it was modeled to me my whole entire childhood. And I would say to James, you don't understand. I go from 0 to 100 like that, and there's no control over it. Victim. Oh, victim. No, and it wasn't until I started working with the Course in Miracles that said you're never angry for the reason that you think, and that everything comes from either love or fear, that I was able to start taking that and going, okay, there is a moment that exists here. I can make another choice. And I would get angry. And I would go, okay, redo. And I would get angry. And I would go, okay, redo. And there would be 1 second and I would get angry. Okay, redo. And that kept happening until I could get to where there was 10 seconds. Look, there is time that exists in there that I can make a different choice. I can respond differently. Do you know how many times I get angry in a year now? 3, 4, maybe. Maybe. It works. It works if you work it. It works. Yeah. There is a moment, there is a space where you can choose consciously.
And that's the habitual part. Because after a while, after you get the message and you feel it, then there's also the habit. You've been used to flying off the handle, saying things, that just whatever comes, blah, 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 and then you apologize. I'm so sorry that I called you all those terrible, horrible names, and it's so it's then you break the habit. Then you choose consciously to something new. And then you have more energy to do that because you've paid attention. And that little boy, little girl, little child inside you says, yeah, I've got the message now. I've served my purpose. I've served my purpose. I've given them what they need. Now they can be free.
And it's okay to be angry. I can be angry if I need to be angry, but it's not a thing that controls me.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important. So we have a handout for you this morning on the back table back there, should you choose to pick one up. It has that process on it so that you can work with it this week and see how that works for you as things come up. Because this week, you've heard this now this morning. So what's going to happen this week? All the beach balls are going to start popping up in your pool trying to get your attention, right? And so you've been given the tools. You've been given some ideas about how to think about it and integrate it and deal with it. So take a sheet home and use it this week because I bet you'll have an opportunity.
Together. Gently, easily. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with you. That beautiful little child that just wants your attention and is bringing many gifts to you right now in your life if you open up to them. And so, yes, there is a shadow. But it's not like I thought. It's just me. It's just me. And I forgive myself for ignoring myself. There's been so many things that I've done to try to cover it up and to deal with it. And I look around and I think to myself, well, the other people are perfect. They've got it all figured out. But that's not true. Everybody hurts. Everybody's wounded. We've been pretending for so long and hiding and wearing the mask. We need healing. And we can heal ourselves a little bit at a time. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay when you get up in the morning and say, I love you. When you look in the mirror, I love everything about you. All at the whole. Sometimes we get a little pain here or there inside of you. If there's any anger there, fear, moving through your body, moving out of your body now, releasing that toxic emotion. Letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. So we give thanks for this day. And so now let us move in our thoughts toward the other people in our lives. And maybe now that you become aware a little bit more of yourself, you'll begin to notice in other people that they also are walking wounded. That they're experiencing their own trials, their own pain, discomfort. Space and honor them. Receive it and be healed. Deep breath. And so today we remember to pray and to affirm the highest good for our nation, our country, for all the people of the world. We say, peace, be still. Peace. Peace. We love you, we accept you. We bless you. And so now I invite you just to sit for just a moment in the stillness and the quiet. And just be with your true self, your own self. So if I say, thank you, God, so be it, and so it is.